This is about me.
Is Bristle's Vault.
We are here, by the way, for Richmond and Sydney, and that's going to be fantastic. But it's Vault time. And the first sort of 7 or 8 episodes, Purple, it's fair to say we took a light-hearted look at the early Bristle interviewing stylings.
Bumbling Bristle.
And a legal look. This is illegal.
George Foreman, Nadia Comaneci, then Greg Louganis, Carl Lewis, Shane Heal and Jeff Malcolm.
And George Foreman again.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did want to be known as Nadia Comaneci.
No, I think she did.
And then Dar Davies, a bike rider no one's ever heard of. Leroy Burrell.
Larry Burrell.
And then a 3 Years Air Good Sports on Valentine's Day snippet of the way Bristle just operated.
That's right.
Outside of the interviewing space, which we love too. So what we'll do is we'll take you back just for 30 seconds and get you to enjoy what we've already heard on the Vault.
What sort of a motorcycle are we using?
Well, for one, we're not doing bike jumping down here.
Well, that's obviously... yeah, well...
Hold on one second.
Okay, sure. We'll hang on for George there. Yeah, George, you back?
I'm back.
Good morning to you, Larry. Got a nice warm coffee here anyway to keep us going. 5 seconds, Nadia Comaneci.
Hello.
Was it true that in your first international competition that you failed badly?
Yeah, this was when I had 9 years old.
Yeah. Did you feel like giving up then or not? Hell, are you still there, Dar?
Yeah.
Do-wah, diddy-diddy.
I was only 9.
Did you think you should give up? Oh, that is hilarious.
Nice warm cup of coffee anyway to keep us going. So, that's what we've heard so far on the Vault. But this week, hard-hitting Brian takes over. He goes toe-to-toe. I haven't heard this, by the way. An uncomfortable interview with a man called Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Self-appointed Fitzroy Football Club saviour back in 1991. And I'm led to believe, Purple, that our man takes a little hit early, absorbed a bit of early punishment, but then in true Bristle style came storming over the top. And, well, anyway, enjoy.
The day's sports news. Sports Drive with the greater 3UZ Good Sports.
Yes, and welcome back to the Good Sports, and it's 24 to 6 on the Good Sports. Let's look at the Fitzroy situation now, and of course, I think everyone's aware of what's happening with Fitzroy. There was talks of merger around about 10 days ago. Fitzroy on the weekend had a meeting in a warehouse somewhere in Brunswick, Fitzroy area, and invited supporters along to see what they could do to help save the club. The guy that's heading up that particular that fund for the Fitzroy Football Club is Greg. He joins us now online. Greg, welcome to you.
Thank you, Brian.
Greg, first of all, so we know where we stand, what's your involvement with this members and supporters' ability to be able to raise money?
Well, first of all, before we start that, Brian, I think that you've taken a big chance having me on your program because as far as myself and the Fitzroy people, your verbal treatment of the club and its supporters over the past 12 months has been nothing short of disgraceful.
Well, that's I wouldn't say disgraceful, but what I will say is I said what I thought. Is it true that you're a declared bankrupt, Greg?
This is unbelievable.
Yes or no?
If you want to, of course not. I run a company that turns over $4 million. In 1979, Brian, what are you trying to do, muck rake, are you?
No, I just
I'll tell you something about...
No, I just asked a very, very simple question, just required an answer.
In 1979, I had to go into bankruptcy. I was a bookmaker at the races.
Are you a declared bankrupt?
No.
You're not?
No, I run a business worth $4 million a year turnover.
All right, but you can categorically say that that's not a fact.
To ask.
But you can categorically state that that is not a fact.
Of course it's not a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you check it out before you ran it by me?
Well, I have checked it out.
You've checked out that I'm a declared bankrupt?
No, I'm asking you the question.
Well, you knew the answer, so why did you run it by me?
I just, I asked...
You wanted to try and get even, did you?
No, I'm asking you the question. All I asked was for an answer. You have the ability to deny or say yes.
You're like a little boy with his football. You're not getting enough kicks, so you take your footy home.
No, I've long retired, Greg, and you know of that, of course. All I'm trying to do here is that you must admit that the average person in the street is being asked here to do something for the club that involves money, that all I'm trying to substantiate is we know Dyson Horlacey, we know John Burt, we know all of them, but we're trying to establish your Bonafides. We don't know who you are.
I've got nothing to hide in my life, Brian.
All right, well then I'm just asking you a simple question.
You only asked me, Brian, to try and get even.
No, I'm not trying to get even with anything. I'm just asking you the questions and the hard questions here that have to be asked, because you are asking for donations and pledges here. Now, it is only fair that the people out there know, if I'm going to give $10 to the cause of Fitzroy, I want to know exactly who's administering and where it's going.
All right, well, I'll tell you that I was a bankrupt in 1979, which everyone at the Fitzroy Football Club knew about. I was discharged in 1982, and since then I've worked at the Essendon Football Club in the marketing division, and I've resurrected my business life to the tune of a business that turns over $4 million. Now, let he who is without anything in their past cast the first stone. Are you able to do that, Brian?
I'm certainly not.
Maybe I should run a check on you.
Please do, because I can categorically say here that I'm not a declared bankrupt, of which you have now admitted. But I'm not asking for the money, Greg. That's the situation. And you've spent the last 5 minutes trying to defend yourself, and you lied to me. You lied to me when I asked you the question.
Very small in mind.
Well, you didn't answer the question as correctly, and I'm glad you've clarified the situation now, because now we know who you are. Thank you to Greg. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much for your time there, and thank goodness we finally got to the bottom of that.
Crikey, Bristle.
Gee.
Jeez, that was... all the oxygen went out of the room, Brian.
Wasn't as funny as the others, but wow.
Jim, all that happened before 6 a.m.
I know.
You heard the time call? 24 to 6. How'd you get him on before 6?
It was up past 5, wasn't it?
Bristol, you would have turned that around. That would have run later in the show as well. You would have backed that up again.
I don't know where it ran. I didn't even know I did that.
Did you notice
Who
how
was
he...
I don't even know who he
Once
is.
he got the answer he wanted, didn't he go for the jugular after he
then
got
it
him?
was,
Yeah, it was like he had him on the ground and
Wasn't a lot
pinned
of
his throat
other,
to the floor.
Being the good sports, wasn't a lot of other sport involved in that conversation, was there?
Brian's asked him to establish his bona fide. You must have prepared that before, Bristol. As one of the questions you wanted to ask.
Type of wording, is it?
Did you get a bit worried when he asked you about your past?
I was a little concerned.
Did you think he may have had something in his back pocket?
Well, yes, you had to be careful there.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, Brian, it shows
some of the raffles.
Another dimension of the interviewing stylings from the Vault.
Uncomfortable. A little edgy on my seat there, but I don't even remember that. I don't know where that's come from.
There were a couple more...
Wow. And at one stage I noticed you got a little uncertain, so you strung about 5 U's together. You. Which we've all done, by the way. I've done it too. You're just getting that next question ready, but it's not quite ready.
Especially if he comes back with something. Where do I go now?
It's 24 to 6.
So later that day, this is where we need to go, all right? So that was hard hitting. That's 5:36 a.m.
Yep.
Was when that started, that interview with a man called Greg.
Finished at 7:05.
Our man Brian, later that day, Duck, played for Paran, and a lot of people forget after his glorious career with Richmond and Collingwood, he then went and captain coached Paran, and that was tumultuous.
I covered this season in question.
Tumultuous.
For the Herald Sun.
Yep.
The way that the Paran and Bristle story sort of unfolded.
Oh.
So later that day, Brian's gone out and played. Reported twice, as I understand.
Same day.
And sent off by an umpire.
The same day.
And we've got some audio of the commentary from that game. Have a listen.
Taylor's broken loose on the lead, grits the teeth and takes out McTaggart. And Height gives him one to go on with. Glenn Height doesn't mind getting in there. Taylor's had his name taken.
He hit the ball as well.
Exactly. That's just ridiculous dribble.
Oh, and that wasn't nice either. This is getting very ugly. That's not nice.
No. Taylor was late on the push on McTaggart, but I honestly do not believe that was reportable.
Taylor's reported again, possibly for that later incident.
I don't know. The umpires, they've got a job to do.
Here we go. Well, there's safety in numbers because the goal umpire's going to be in there as well. 3 coming down to tell Brian Taylor he has to leave the field. We have the umpires wired for sound, but I think it's best that we don't hear, to tell you the truth, because I'm sure Taylor will be livid.
It was a great sight seeing the three umpires march down to the goal square to say, excuse me, Brian, but look,
almost like
an
execution.
Excuse me, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Bristle.
Yeah, I was escorted off.
Bristle, you headbutted someone in that exchange.
I think I did. Yeah.
You did?
I think I did.
No, you
I
did.
think I did, but
You'd worked up.
I didn't want to go off, but they wouldn't start the game until I did.
And obviously, this being a non-visual medium right at the moment, Jim, the umpires in question, they actually went down en masse because one was too scared to do it by himself. So they went, all of them, 2 goal umpires, 2 field umpires, 2 boundary umpires.
Before the last quarter
and
started.
they were scared talking to you. And to your credit, though, you did just run off.
They surrounded me and escorted me off.
Yeah, you did argue the call, though.
I did. Well, they were wrong.
Bristle.
How many weeks?
4.
Can't remember.
4.
Did the interview from earlier in the day have anything to do with your truculence?
Might have got me in the wrong frame of mind. I think. Stage 5. What was it? 5:40.
5:40, and you're
24 to 6.
captain coaching the same day. Oh, brilliant. We go to an interview recorded a little earlier on with John Longmire shortly. Before we do, Damo.
Yeah, the feedback on @Triple Footy Gym on all social media platforms. Justin Bird, BT clearly just took revenge on the footy field for Greg giving him the Jimmy Grits. Big tanker, old hearting Brian, going with the tough questions, not even changing the tone of his voice.
No.
Stewie Alexander, hard-hitting Brian, and Brad Cook, and this is a sentiment that's reflected across a lot of the mentions here, Jim. Do-a-diddy-diddy. Still gets me. That was the previous week when you threw to the song on Valentine's Day.
Manfred Mann.
Do-a-diddy.